There is this really frustrating thing that I notice in the spiritual community where when shit gets real and things get difficult and it's hard to ignore what's happening in our physical reality and the world around us, there's a lot of spiritual bypassing, okay? And if you are a practitioner of any kind, a mystic of any kind, and you live in the United States right now, I think that you are doing not only yourself, but your community and the world you live in a disservice to be ignoring the realities and see it as being love and light. Nothing bothers me more than that because I think that if you truly understand what love is, then you understand there's so many different layers and aspects to it. Being angry and having empathy for those around you in the community is also a form of love and empathy. However, I personally believe it's not loving to ignore the realities of what's going on in the world. I also believe that conversations about not wanting to be divisive or stir the pot is just not rooted in the reality of this physical experience. I think a lot of us can unfortunately get into the phase of being in psychosis where we're so wrapped up in what's beyond the veil that we're not paying attention to why we carnated here as a human being. And we all carnated here as human beings from various different backgrounds. We have different races, we have different experiences in this life. And to ignore it under the premise or under the guise of like we're all the same, we aren't all treated the same. And as a human being on planet Earth, you have to acknowledge the reality of the world that you live in. If you are a woman, if you're a person of color, if you're a queer person, if you're a trans person, if you have these different identities that we have as human beings on Earth, then you have to acknowledge that your experience and the way that you are treated is different. It's not loving at all to ignore those differences under the guise that we're all the same, because we can know on a spiritual level, on a higher level, that yes, we are all love and we are all connected. However, that is not how the world works and that is not how the world plays out, and that's not our actual lived experiences. Our actual lived experiences do not reflect this knowing because the entirety of the collective has not awakened to that truth. And doing the work to get people to that truth will require us to go through a collective dark night of the soul, which is what I feel like we're in. This is a reckoning where every one of us is having to call into questions our own morality and how we view our fellow human beings and how we treat our fellow human beings. And ignoring that is not love and light. It's not loving to ignore injustice. Okay, and spiritual practices across different marginalized communities have been used to fight against injustice and oppression for ages. So for us to be practitioners in this day and time, to be a human being in this day and time, and to be ignoring the world around us is, in my opinion, a complete waste of the gifts that we were given. Because we were placed here during this time with our various backgrounds, which we should acknowledge, with our various experiences, which we should also acknowledge for a reason.